Hello, my name is Mark Wosgerau, and I'm a tattoo artist and the owner of Sinners Inc. And today I'm here with Nikolai, aka Dev1ce, one of the world's best CS:GO players. And Nikolai, for those who don't know you, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, as Mark said, I play video games for a living. In the world of Counter-Strike, I play in a team called Astralis. We are currently still the best team in the world, but a little bit of a shaky position right now. But yeah, that's basically my life. I live in Stockholm with my lovely girlfriend and travel around the world playing video games.
Okay, so let's to get to know you. Let's take 5 fast, which I think will say a little more about you. So, pineapple on pizza or not?
I'm going no. Okay. Definitely not. But my girlfriend, she actually eats pizza with pineapple, curry, and banana.
Oh shit!
And that's disgusting.
That sounds crazy. Like in my opinion, fruits don't belong on a pizza.
No, really.
It's the same. My wife eats pepperoni and pineapple too. So yeah, I know how it is. Okay, so Gucci or Louis Vuitton?
Yeah, it's a hard one actually. It's probably the hardest one. You can ask me. I'm gonna say LV for the moment, even though I love Gucci as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think.
How about you?
I think for me it's the same. Actually, it kind of just changed. But to me, I think the new collections of Gucci is not as interesting as what they did like 1 or 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Same for sure.
Because I think what they did before would fit me very well because it was very inspired from
streetwear and stuff.
Yeah, streetwear and tattooing, especially as well. Exactly. They had all the king snake and all these motifs, which were traditional tattoo motifs. But of course, I think now that Virgil Abloh is the creative director of Louis Vuitton, it makes it a lot more interesting.
For sure.
The stuff he's doing right now is really, really interesting, and he's pushing the boundaries of what's possible to do. So I think I will have to go with you on Louis Vuitton for the moment.
For sure.
Not that I don't like Gucci. Okay, so clock or USB?
Yeah, that's a CS related question.
Yeah, so it's to tell them what it is, that's
the 2 starting pistols, and you start as the attacking, the terrorist team, or the counter-terrorist, the defensive team. So I'm definitely best with the USB, but I'm gonna go with the Glock. It's a traditional weapon, and I like it.
But you will do better with the USB?
For sure.
Okay. Let's see. PlayStation 4 or Xbox? That's call question. That splits the wallet.
Yeah,
one of them.
For sure. I started off my life with an Xbox, but now I have a PlayStation, so I'm kind of bound to go with that, right? But yeah, I like them both, but PlayStation for now.
Okay. Yeah, I always only played the PlayStation. I never had an Xbox, so I don't know if I'm even allowed to
answer. PC is obviously better than both, but.
You prefer PC?
Yeah.
But I think the thing about PC, right, is that most of the games in PC you have to spend more time.
And you need to have so many accessories like mouse, keyboard, monitor, everything. It's
the other thing is a little more plug and play kind of.
For sure.
So do you do that a lot? Play
other games?
Or Xbox, Switch, anything?
I mean, I had a time this year where I actually played so much FIFA on the PlayStation that my girlfriend thought it was more addicting than Counter-Strike. So we had a little bit of a talk about that, but no. Honestly, I try to keep as much away from playing too many video games when I'm not playing Counter-Strike, because it would be too much sitting down and there are a lot of other fun stuff to do, for sure.
Yeah. So you're not going to do a career in FIFA?
No, I'm definitely not good enough as well. I need to grind a lot more for that as well.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. Who is better, Simple or you?
That's a tough one. People asked me that all year last year, and still this year it's an ongoing debate. But I think that individually he's kind of outperforming me. As a team, we're outperforming Navi. So if I have to choose individually, I would say he's better skill-wise, but I'd probably contribute more to the team.
Okay, so you're a better team player.
Yeah.
This is like a solo player.
It's not a solo player, but his team is built around him and the success of him.
Okay.
And obviously he's doing a pretty crazy job, right? So our team is more built about moving around as a unit, and everyone is 20% of the team. So there's a lot less pressure on the individual, but there's also a lot of more stuff to do as a team.
Okay. Okay, so I think it's been like this for a long time, I guess, but still this day, I think there's a lot of confusion what esport really is. I guess actually now here in Denmark, people are kind of enlightened about it, but I think there's still a lot of people that aren't enlightened about it. But as you guys been a lot on national TV, so they did the documentary about you. So I guess a lot of people had the possibility to go dig into your world and get insights. But for those who didn't see the documentaries and all this kind of stuff, and isn't that like maybe it's new to esport or want to become a part of esport, could you tell me what esport really is like?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the first things you have to establish is telling people that you actually specialize in one game, because a lot of people come from the outside and actually think you'll play all of these games as a professional. But we only, as an esport athlete, it's the same as playing football, right? When you play football, you don't play handball as well. So yeah, I specialize in Counter-Strike, and esports is generally professional video gaming where you play your game in a team. You travel to all of these tournaments around the world, for sure. And yeah, we compete against other teams that come from all around the world. Yeah, that's basically it, right? There's a lot of depth to it on how you train and how you maintain a healthy team environment and stuff like that. But yeah, esports is kind of like traditional sports, but it's it's a video game.
Yeah. But like the size of esport now, did it always? Well, it's been like this for a long time, right? Because I remember when I was a kid, I played Counter-Strike as well. I think it was 1.6. And back then there was this legend, Heaton.
Yeah.
And he had all the videos and you could watch him on YouTube and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess at that point of time, people was also playing tournaments and stuff like this, right?
Yeah, I think yeah, I understand where you're coming at, for sure. It's grown as a lot, and as you say, in Denmark especially, there's this huge recognition of how big gaming is for the
Denmark love you guys.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're like national
heroes in some way. Yeah, we just played Counter-Strike with the Prime Minister, and actually he said something which I didn't know, that like 95% of all boys between 12 to I don't know what the age was, like to 24 or something like that, they all play video games, right? So it's a big market.
How many?
95%.
90%.
Yeah.
95%.
They all like play video games once a week or something like that, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just such a like sick statistic to look at, because you have all of these people that are playing video games, and you have like some generations that still don't understand what it is, and is it a social thing to do, or are you just in your own room playing by yourself? And
I think that's a big question right now, if it's, as you say, social or anti-social.
Exactly.
What do you think about gaming? Is it social?
It's definitely the most social part about my life, honestly. I've gotten so many friendships and so many contacts and relationships and so on from playing video games, and it's been a huge part of me growing up and defining the person I am today. I think if it wasn't social at all, I would have never gotten this far as I am. So for sure, I'd say it's very social, and there are so many things you can do to make it more social. You see it in all the like after school activities where you go to play video games together. There are like clubs where you can be a part of, like a football club. You can be part of an esports club in different parts of the country. You can go to school and have esports as one of your classes, right? So So there's a lot of things that are being done to make it more visually appealing and socially appealing to a lot of people, and yeah, we still have a long way to go, obviously, but in Denmark we are far ahead from Sweden, where I live, where gaming is still kind of a taboo, and
so there's a big difference from these two Scandinavian countries,
exactly.
Side by side.
There's a big difference, and I think it's, as you said, there's been a lot of focus on us and how well we've done, and I think that is.
So there's no
very good
top team in Sweden.
They have top teams, and definitely they've had the chance to build it. I think a lot of the politicians and a lot of the guys that work in Refresh have some good relationships with some guys that have good contacts, right? So it's been easier to get it out to the public, and then obviously us doing a good job inside the game, it's been easy to sell it to the public as like Denmark having success in a sport.
Of course, as well, you're the best in the world. So
exactly,
there's some national pride in that, and people dive into that
for sure.
But I had a question I thought about. So you just told me that the Prime Minister said that 90, or I don't know if it was the Prime Minister, 99.5% of kids play video games. And then there's this big thing about video game addiction now.
Yeah.
What do you see about all that? Like,
yeah, it's definitely a hard.
Worse, or
it's getting recognized, and I myself probably. I'm not sure I've been addicted, but I've definitely known people that have sacrificed a lot of stuff for video games without having an end goal to it. And I can see the problem if you are a parent and you are. It can be a positive thing sometimes playing video games, and it can be social, but you can always do it too much.
That's why it gets antisocial.
Yeah, and it's kind of a fine balance to find, right? And it's more about making it possible for the kids to understand. Like, everyone can get addicted from something, and if you have an addictive personality, it's more or less about understanding and learning from that, and also being limited from your parents. I think it's a lot about raising with your kids with some boundaries, and if you actually see it as a huge problem, talk with them. And like, my top advice for parents is actually trying to play the game, or trying to do the stuff that your kid spends so much time on, to try to understand why. If it's such a big part of your kid's life, then I would engage with it if I were the parent, at least. And I think that's where there is a lot of misunderstandings. But yeah, it's a bad side of it. If you play too much and you get really addicted to it, and you start not prioritizing your school and your friends and your family. But I'd say it doesn't happen as often as some of the medias like to paint a picture of.
Okay. Cool. So the next question is, what makes esport a sport? Because I know that's like one of the big topics as well. We're calling it esport. Is it really a sport? There's a lot of people that doesn't think it's a sport. So could you fill me out on that? Because that's funny coming from you. Like, what do you think about it? Is it a sport?
I definitely treat myself as an athlete. I treat my body really well. A lot of physical activities, a lot of physical treatment.
Is that standard with the team, or is that just you?
It's definitely becoming more standard with other teams, but it's been a big part of Astralis for a long time.
So you all exercise, try to eat healthy.
Exactly. And like the structurizing of the training and the end goals, and we now have a sports director which comes from handball, and basically
so you used to train.
It's Kasper Witt. He's been a professional handball player for like 20 years and on the national team for I don't know how long. Okay. And he comes with a lot. Like, he came, I think 1.5 years ago with a background in traditional sports, and I'm pretty sure
he applied into sports.
That we try to get a lot of the good values that comes from traditional sports, and to treat the training and the tournaments and the psychology behind it, like traditional athletes. And there will always be the question: is it a sport? Because the physical activity is not the same as when you play football. But then again, you have chess, you have bowling, you have dart, a lot of other sports that are recognized as sports, right? Which has the same physical activity and limits as Counter-Strike, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where you it's kind of hard for people to say no to recognize it as a sport. But
Is it important for you to have it recognized as a sport?
As a top athlete, it doesn't really change every day, and esports keep growing.
You know what you're doing. You don't care if anybody else.
Esports keep growing. Whether you recognize it or not, it will still keep growing because video gaming and gaming in general is just becoming more and more popular, and it's popular to watch.
It's like South Korea. It's the national sport of South Korea, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely not needed, but I think it's coming, and I think it's just a matter of some generations to. Yeah.
I guess that's like also the change from old society into modern society,
for sure.
Computer generation, digitalization, like everything has changed. Art has changed, the way it looks, and of course how we communicate through social media and all this stuff.
Exactly.
So I guess that's just another way to create sport into the modern society.
For sure, and I think it's only going to get more popular when we get even better technology, right? Our technology is quite limited already. We've seen all of these movies like Ready Player One, which is like kind of this fantasy world.
So you see
the virtual reality. Yeah, for sure. I think gaming is definitely going to take a turn into the virtual reality side. At one point, the thing is, how will you present the product to the audience, right? And it's going to be very exciting when they find a good way to do that, because then it becomes even more alive and even more recognized as a sport, because it's going to have a lot of physical activity as well.
So you would have to run in the game.
Yeah, exactly. You will see all of these athletes shaped like video gamers, for sure. It's going to be funny for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm 100% sure that's a change that's going to happen.
Okay. So let's move on to the next. I know a lot of people want to know, what do you do when you're not playing Counter-Strike? Of course, you're playing a lot of Counter-Strike, I guess. Can I just ask you that first? How much Counter-Strike you play a day?
Yeah, I can go through just a regular training day with the team. Is basically our practice is from 12 to 6 p.m. So it's basically me. Yeah, it's like 6 hours a day, and then there are some.
Oh, 12 to 18, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And then there are a lot of commitments that are individualized. So you have some freedom to do what serves best for the team, right? But yeah, in the morning, I always like to get a little bit going with some activity. Either it's a workout or it's just like going for a jog or something like that in the morning. And then obviously you have to prepare some food for the day as well, because
you can move from the screen.
Yeah, we don't have that much breaks, and when you have the breaks, you would also like to get your body moving, like doing some exercising between. Yoga is becoming really popular for a lot of the esports teams to do between practices, and then we practice from 12.
You do yoga?
Sometimes. I'm trying to get better. It's quite hard. I think so, at least. But yeah, doing some exercising in that regard between games is good, and then we play 6 hours. Mainly the 2 first hours are like doing new tactics, analyzing our losses, preparing for opponents in the future games, and what like
you watch them game, like their
we watch,
and then you analyze them, and then you create a strategy from that.
Exactly, and also it's a lot about how the different maps are played, because they're played in like an aggressive or a defensive way, and knowing how your opponent plays, you have a lot of possibilities to do something against that. And being prepared is basically why we've been so good for a long time. So we live a lot, our results come a lot from the preparation, for sure.
Okay. And then let's get back to the question.
Yeah.
What do you do on an off day then, or like when you're traveling or whatever?
Yeah.
When you're not gaming?
So, of course, when we have vacations, I like to go on nice vacations. But like an off day would just basically be either flying to Denmark to see my family, or spending a lot of time with my friends in Stockholm. It can be whatever. Just usually we don't do anything gaming related. We can go to the beach. We can go to a lot of nice places in Stockholm where you can actually like go swimming now. It's summer. between like kind of these rocky mountains and so on. It's pretty cool. A lot of nice environments up there. Go play ping pong. I actually play a lot of ping pong, but I'm pretty bad at it. Other than that, it's just about de-stressing. I think our minds are working all the time, even though we won't really notice it.
Yeah, you think about Counter-Strike.
Yes, subconsciousness. You have a lot of dilemmas and ideas in your head that your subconsciousness is working on while you're doing all this stuff. So I think it actually helps a lot to just lay it off 100%. Of course, there are some obligations regarding sponsorships and so on when we have these off days from gaming. But if you can and have the mindset to actually if you have a problem, just don't think about it and let your subconsciousness actually work the problem for you. I think a lot of times it's solution, like you get a solution out of nowhere.
Okay, so not thinking about the problem makes you solve the problem.
Yeah, definitely.
That's interesting. You just said about sponsorships. What kind of obligation would you have from a sponsorship? And can you tell us who your sponsors is at the moment? Or
yeah, for
one
sure.
question as well is: are you sponsored solely by something and Astralis by something else, or is everybody just sponsored from what Astralis is sponsored from?
So, yeah, in general, right now, the whole industry works as Astralis gathers a lot of sponsors. The sponsors basically pay our salaries, traveling, etc., and they get a service which is content that is created with and for them. That could be videos, that could be photo shoots, that could be when they are launching new products and so on. Being interactive with our fans through our partnerships is probably the most important part about it. And right now, it's only Astralis that are having these sponsorships actually. But in the future, it's already something that are in a lot of player contracts that people need to be able to do individual sponsorships as well, right? It's going to be cool because you see it a lot in football. A player can be sponsored by a Nike in his player suit, like but he's an Adidas ambassador when he's playing for Nike or a Nike sponsored team. And that's definitely something that are creating a lot of opportunities in CS and esports in general. But as of right now, it's more or less sponsor obligations that come from Astralis, and Astralis are gathering the money, which is basically paying our salary, right?
Yeah, so you get a monthly salary.
Yeah, exactly.
From Astralis. Okay. Great. So I know you have a lot of interest in fashion, like especially designer fashion.
Yeah.
Is that your thing, or is it a general thing in gaming?
Yeah. I think I started pretty early with my interest of fashion for sure.
You always had interest in fashion?
Yeah. Since I think my parents told me ever since I was like 6 or 7, I had an like opinion on what I wanted to wear, and when we were out, like they didn't just buy me clothes. I actually wanted to be a part of it as well and have a style in some like sense.
Did you want to look different, or?
Yeah, definitely different for sure. I wanted to look different, and I wanted to.
You didn't want to look like the other kids in school.
No, it wasn't like buying all the standard Nike brands. It was more or less taking something from what is maybe popular and then also having your own twist in it, right? So it's not just a copy of. That's at least how my style is now. I think back then it was more or less had an idea. I wanted to be a little bit different, but still not like, the goth part or something like that. It was just different than the normal.
Yeah, not just casual or.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it started back then. I think right now in esports, people are obviously earning good money, and I think. That is a reason why we see a lot of esports players actually buying a lot of fashion. I don't think it's hard to say, right? Because I'm not them if they're really interested in fashion and so on, but it's at least something that's quite new for a lot of people. It's kind of cool, right? Because people, they buy all these clothes and then they mix match it in a way that you wouldn't see before. But it's kind of becoming like NBA, right? Where people show up in these outfits and like to have some cool outfits to show off, right?
Is there any particular team that like full designer team or something like that?
I think
multiple of them.
Yeah, Navi, that's Team Symbol is playing for. They come from Ukraine, and they always there's a guy called Flamey. I don't know how much clothes he has, but he like every time I see him, he has something new, and it's always some nice stuff, and he has a pretty sick style.
Cool. Okay, so.
But it's kind of the same in the tattooing industry, isn't it? Like, there's a lot of when you
yeah, I think
when you get into a certain point
right now. Of course, I think it's both. If you were already into it, as you said, you've been doing it for a long time. But I think as well, just social media pushing it. I think there's so many young people right now that doesn't feel good in their own skin.
Yeah.
That think they have to spend all their money on a expensive bag or expensive clothes, and it kind of, I think somehow it makes them think they're becoming perfect or the life is becoming better. I think that's the thing about materialism, it's like, it's nice to feel that you look good, but everything is still from the inside. If you don't feel good about yourself,
you have to work from inside out,
bag
for sure.
Isn't going to change that, So I think it's dangerous times. As for kids, social media, the way people look at themselves.
LA, Los Angeles syndrome in some way, where all the YouTubers and everyone is showing off this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Which is kind of perfect, right?
Everybody want to be a blogger, everybody want to be an entrepreneur, everybody want to look perfect, everybody wants it to look like they have the best life. In reality, it's just about you thinking that you have your best life. It's like it doesn't matter if you do it for. Do you do it for yourself? Or do you do it for others? That's probably the biggest question, right?
For sure.
So yeah, I think there's a lot of tattoo artists doing it right now, but I just think overall there's a lot of people doing it right now.
Yeah, I'd agree to that. For sure.
I do believe that's about to change in the coming years, though. We'll see.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from for sure. It's such a hard question, right? Because, as you say, it's a trend to, I should say, buy into happiness in some way, and buy into. Sure. It's more about personal happiness, about like the perception of personal happiness and Instagram followers and making your life like look perfect. But
yeah,
we have like some Danish people that are like challenging this norm, and as you said, I think it's going to change for sure. It's going to change because it's important.
Because I think there's a lot of people feeling bad about themselves.
Yeah,
because they think they have a shitty life, and everybody else is living the perfect life.
But people also compare to the wrong people. And comparing in general is kind of weird because everyone's life is different. And
I think they compare to unrealistic terms.
Yeah.
It's like people spend time, take that photo to look different. They maybe even photoshopped it to look different.
Yeah.
I think like it's a fact. In reality, our brains are coded to create problems for us. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a multi-billionaire, it doesn't matter. You will still have problems because your brain is coded to have problems. Because when we solve problems, we evolve as a human. So our brain was designed to always create problems. So the perfect life doesn't exist. I think the perfect life comes from you acknowledging that problems is going forward.
Yeah.
Instead of having them as problems. They're good things. Like problems are good.
Yeah, it's more about solutions. It's basically the same way we work.
When you think about finding solutions, that's a great way to say it, I would think you do that a lot in Counter-Strike.
We do that all the time. It's basically the key, like, epitome of playing together in a team, right? Because everyone knows what the problem is when you're sitting in and playing a game and you're down 0-6. Everyone knows what the problems have been and are right now, but... You
do that. Yeah. Everybody has the insight to look at himself and said, I created this problem today that made us lose this fight.
Exactly.
Everybody has that kind of insight in your team?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a big part of how you work as well. You could say in some way, when you play a Counter-Strike round, if you die early in a round, you've basically created a problem for your team or created a disadvantage. And then it's about redeeming that. And it's a lot about working on what can you contribute with. Like, you have a complete overview of the team, what kind of like grenades you have, which strategies you have, You have a better idea of what the other team is doing. So
would he still sit and talk to you guys and say, I think you should think about this, this, and this? You would correspond?
Everyone in the team would do that, but of course there are some more emotional players and it's harder from time to time, but it's basically what we actually demand from each other, because if everyone just wanted to, people can get frustrated and mad, maybe hit in the table or whatever they want to do, but it takes
that in a fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it can also happen on the server, but it takes 2 seconds and then you have to reset. And if you can't reset, you can't really contribute in a way that
you can't focus.
Yeah, exactly. And you can easily lose your focus and lose all of the preparation in some way. And it's a good way of thinking solutions. Also kind of removes the problem, because then you're not thinking about the problem in general. You actually only think about how you can help yourself coming away from the problem, but also your team in different situations, right? So yeah, it's a good way of just having that view of life, that every time life throws you something shit, you just think of the solutions instead of how shitty the situation is, because the situation is not going to change by itself.
No, I guess as well, nobody ever grew from doing something right. From doing something wrong.
Definitely.
So that's the thing. If you do something wrong, you're winning. You're learning.
Exactly.
I guess that's. Do you watch your fights? I guess that you do. Full team. Yeah. You sit down, watch your fight. What did we do wrong? What do we do good? What should we do next time? Blah blah blah. You do that?
Not all of the time. I think sometimes there's also, it could be if everything really was just bad and it's not about looking at what happened, what went wrong in the game, then you can say what went wrong before the game or what went wrong with the preparation. Sometimes...
what would go wrong before the game?
It could be people waking up in the wrong side of the bed and not... being as committed, being hungry. It's mindset. Everything is mindset in some way. And then the preparation could be the individual preparation. We have a lot of free will, or what can you say? Everything is on us to prepare individually. So if you don't show up individually, it's hard sometimes to sit in a team and actually talk about that, because the reflection needs to come from the individual and itself, saying, did I do enough as a person, as an individual, to prioritize the team and myself leading up to this tournament? And it's also all about balance, right? Because you can't always just demand more and more and more. You need to have ups and downs. And it's about creating those ups and downs and making sure that when it goes down, it only, the curve doesn't just crash. You just have a little dip and then you get back to the top. You have the hunger again.
Yeah. I also thought about it when I felt like that as an artist. I always said to myself, okay, the only thing I have to do today is maintain my level.
Yeah.
So I can't go down a level, but I don't have to think about evolving.
Exactly.
So I could say when I had my first kid, of course, it's a lot of pressure having a kid. It's one of the hardest things I've done in my life, for sure. So when I had Atlas, my first kid, I said to myself, okay, for these hard months, I'm not going to think about evolving. I'm just going to think about keeping my level. I just don't want to degrade my level.
I understand that.
You could say use for...
Yeah, for sure. And it's...
Because you would also have... that's what you said. Everybody has problems. So in problem times, you would have to do that.
I had a lot of problems. I've had a lot of issues with my health in general. Coming from stress-related diseases... mainly IBS, which has always been stomach related in me, and going through that, I should say, you're also always thinking about, am I ever gonna be I had to quit for some time, 3 months, and have a period of time where I was examined and didn't play CS at all. My team continued going to tournaments. They did good, they did bad, like a team does in a shaky period. But you're always gonna question yourself: are you gonna get back to the level? Are you going to be able to push yourself again in some way? And realizing that you just need to stay at the level you're at and maintaining that for a longer period of time is definitely something that creates consistency. Yeah. And that's very important in general in life.
Consistency, I think that's the word right, because you can't drop a level. You just have to be consistent at least.
I've lived by that for a long time. I think I've since they started in Counter-Strike doing ratings from year to year ranking players. I think it's the last 4 years now in a row I've been in the top 5. I've never been the best player in the world, which obviously saddens me, and everyone is saying who remembers the number 2 or who remembers the number 4, right? But being able to do something that no one has done before in regards of being that consistent is also something I have.
Team you did what nobody did.
Yeah.
You're the team that won most big matches in a row?
Yeah. There was a period of time where a team NIP from Sweden, they had like a huge streak.
Those.
And
that was when I was playing as a kid. They were, I think so.
And then they came back and then they made like this 88-0 streak that nobody is never going to replicate, right? But
88-0.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it. No one is never going to beat that. But they were the only full-time team at that time, right? So they had a lot of advantages in that.
Yeah, it's different now. People are better.
But we've definitely done some things as a team that no other teams have done. We have the chance of winning 3 majors in a row this summer. It's definitely the biggest goal right now, because some teams have won 2 majors in a row. We've done that as well, but winning a third.
Majors is just for everybody to know.
Yeah, it's twice a year. We have these $1 million tournaments where.
Is that the biggest tournament?
Yeah, it's the biggest prestige-wise. I think there are other tournaments that have the same prize pools, but the majors are basically hosted by the owners of the game, Valve. Okay. So there's a lot of prestige, and you get all these emblems in game and engraved, etc., etc. And it's kind of like Champions League, but we have it twice a year.
Okay.
And yeah.
That's kind of hardcore that you have it twice a year.
For sure, and the whole, what do you call, the format is so brutal, you can't really do that many mistakes. You've seen a lot of favorites dropping out of group stages and so on. So yeah, that's definitely gonna be the most pressured moment of my career in a long time, because...
When you do the next majors, are you gonna win?
Yeah, for sure. I know for sure.
That's great.
There's no way we can't. We have all of this.
Did anyone win 3 majors before?
No, okay. We have won 3 majors, but not consecutively.
No, yeah, consistently 3 majors in a row. So you're going for number 4 now.
Yeah, probably gonna tattoo that one at some point.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, let's move on. I think this is one of the more controversial questions. So, is there a lot of groupies and as well gold diggers in the
industry? That's a tough one. I've always been a relationship boy. I've been together with Emilia now for 2 years, and I've basically always been in a relationship since I was 17 years old.
Okay.
Basically some months off, but so I haven't really experienced that side. Of course, I've partied a lot and so on, but I haven't really met the groupie, what do you call the groupie gold digger industry, but I know it is there. I know, especially, I've heard some League of Legends stories. I can't go too much into detail about that, but I know for sure that that's a game where a lot of more girls are playing and watching the games as well. So
they have male groupies?
No, they have a lot of more girls playing casually. So they have a lot of more girls that are interested in the game. I think Counter-Strike is more hardcore game.
Yeah.
And then at tournaments, some guys they bring their girlfriends and so on. So
is there any professional girl teams in Counter-Strike? Yeah,
there are a lot of teams, and they're all playing together. But
yeah, there's male versus girl.
They play in. It's not our tournaments are not male tournaments. It's just generally tournaments for everyone, so everyone can qualify. But they also have all female tournaments as well that they play in, and they are quite good. I think it's bound to happen at one point that a girl will compete on a male team at a top level, but it just hasn't happened yet. They're definitely good enough, but
of course, as being a male-dominated industry, it will be
something happening in the future for sure.
Yeah. Because it gets more and more. I guess it's kind of, I don't know if it's taboo to be a girl and play as well.
I think in Denmark it's getting more normal, but I can definitely see people not wanting to show that off in other countries where it isn't as normalized.
Yeah, commercial.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any stories about that though? You must have like one funny groupie story, gold digger story.
It wasn't really a groupie, but it was like more of a fan going a little bit too hardcore. I think it was actually in the beginning of my career, or not in the beginning, like the middle of career when I was in 2015. There was this period of time where we were, I can't remember what country we were in, but we were having like this meet and greet. And yeah, people are really nervous when they meet you, and I think it's still awesome. Like it's kind of weird, but awesome that people are nervous because they really idolize you, and their like fan what do you call, like interaction with us is something that's really unique. But yeah, there was this one girl that just, like, if I remember correctly, when we had this fan meeting, when she was walking away, she basically just ran back, smacked my ass and kissed me, and then just ran. I was like, what the just happened? And that's the only really weird thing I've tried. I've heard stories and I know stories about crazy stuff happening, like people, when we are doing autographs on people's breasts, boobs and asses and stuff like that, but I've never really done that myself. But I've heard of some stories about that. But
there's some teams that's like known for doing that.
Not really known for doing it, but I just think that sometimes some teams have some crazy fans. And it's basically when you're doing this like signing sessions and fan meets, it's with a lot of people, so there will be a lot of people there. So yeah, I definitely think some crazier stuff has happened for some other teams. Okay. Our Danish fans are quite calm.
Not as crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to dig down in your history a little better. So could you tell us about where it all kind of started?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like what led you to becoming an esports player?
I think there was a lot of like moments that pushed me on like in this direction. I think my dad has always been a gamer. I think he had
been a gamer.
Yeah,
what kind of game?
I remember playing Unreal Tournament 1999 when I was like 3, 4, 5 years old, and I was really, really good at that. And then I basically got like an Xbox when I was really young, and then I got a PC for myself when I was like 9 years old. And I've just been playing Counter-Strike ever since Counter-Strike Source was released. And yeah, like gaming in general wasn't really... Like I played badminton for a long time, and my mother was on the national team and played for a lot of years and so on.
Your mother was on the national team?
Yeah.
Were you on the national team?
No. I was close, but I was not there. But I played a lot of badminton, and there was these moments where every weekend I would go to a badminton competition, but there was always, like I really wanted to go to some of the CS competitions, and I played in a team kind of for fun, like 2 evenings every week, and we were really good, like, and I think I was 14 or 15 years old when I got like asked if I wanted to join a team full of like 25-year-olds.
Okay.
And my parents were really against that because, going to another part of the country to meet up with some 20-year-olds when they're like 14-year-old boys, something that's like crossing some boundaries in some way. And yeah, that was basically when I knew that I was going to be quite good at it. But I still wanted to pursue like badminton. So I went on to a sports college and basically had a knee injury. Started playing Counter-Strike again, and
you couldn't play after the knee injury.
I could have come back, but I was.
You didn't feel like coming back.
No, I was on this like sports camp when there was this CS tournament going on, and I watched it, and I honestly said to myself, I can be better than these guys, and that was like the championship game, and then I started playing again, and I think 3 months later, I joined the best team in Denmark. And that's basically where I dropped it.
To what?
That was that's 6 years ago. That's when I started playing with some of my teammates now. So 18,
and
17?
What was the team's name?
Copenhagen Wolves.
Copenhagen Wolves?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were quite good. I played with...
Doesn't exist anymore?
No, the guy that owned Copenhagen Wolves is a shareholder in Astralis as well.
Okay. So...
He was a part of starting Astralis up as well.
So did your entry to Astralis come from that?
Yeah, I think that creating Astralis was something.
Were you into Astralis from day one?
Yeah,
okay.
I was there when we created it. So we played under in 2015 under a brand called Team Solar Mid, which is probably the biggest organization in the world in League of Legends, and it was an American-based organization. So we had a lot of issues with communication and time zones and so on. So basically, when our contract was ending, we were debating on whether to go to another organization, re-signing, and a crazy guy had this idea that we'd actually start our own stuff, be like part shareholders, have some stock and have some interest in creating and like pushing the brand as well.
Okay.
And that's basically how Astralis started.
So that's how it is now. Are you a shareholder now?
Yeah, we're shareholders.
Okay, everybody's shareholders.
I think on newest edition, Magisk is the only guy that isn't a shareholder, but Glaive has a little bit of shares as well. And then, of course, we have the 3 founding members still, me, Dupree, and Cibex. We obviously own a larger equity than the other guys do.
Okay. So Magisk doesn't have any shareholders?
No.
Okay,
it's quite hard, we realized, when you have all these player like changes and sure. Valve have some rules.
What about any of the guys that changed? Are they still shareholders?
No, so Valve, the guys that host the majors, they have this rule of you can't own any equity in any other brands if you're playing for another team, because then there is a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
And they created that rule, so they actually basically had to sell or give up their percentages when they left the team.
So let's say you get kicked out of Astralis. That's going to happen. So you would lose your...
I wouldn't lose it. I would be forced to sell it if I wanted to compete in another team.
Yeah, okay, like that. So you could still just not play and still have your share.
Yeah.
Okay. So, is there any like special turning points that stands out to you in your career? Like, boom, that magical moment that took you somewhere, or made you that much better, or
definitely
gave you the mindset?
I think before being a professional Counter-Strike player, my parents' divorce was kind of a turning point, because I kind of spent a lot of time in front of a computer screen when they got divorced, because it was easier. You like escape from the real life problems. That was kind of my solution to that, right? And I dug into that, and that's basically where the passion came from. Going like further in my career, I think it's the turning points that have been most important are basically having the first meeting with a sports psychologist. That happened in 2016.
Sports psychologist.
Yeah, we started working with a girl called Mia, which basically dealt with a lot of Olympic athletes in Finland. She was from Finland, and she made me reflect and respect myself, and in a way I haven't done before, because it's very easy to be negative in your mindset towards yourself, and you are saying, like, having a lot of conversations with yourself throughout the day, and criticizing yourself is the easiest, right? Yeah, and she taught me to speak to myself as I would speak to my girlfriend or my friends.
Someone you care.
Yeah, exactly. And that taught me a lot about how to treat myself as a person and not always be so demanding. I think that the way that I always treated myself was to say that was not good enough, I need to do more. And then I did more, and then you could do that until like you get to a certain point where your mind and your body just can't cope with more stress.
Yeah.
And that definitely was like a turning point for me, but she also worked with us as a team and helped us win the first major. We were basically known as being...
You won the first major before that, after that.
After that, and we were...
That kind of changed everything for you
It
guys.
changed everything, and she, like, we were known for being the team that always loses the semifinal. We would always get to the semifinal, like 20 tournaments in a row, and we would lose every single semifinal.
Okay.
So she basically turned a lot upside down for us, and we have a lot to thank her for. And then I think definitely working with Sonic, our coach. I met him back in 2015, and I think 2 months after we met him, the team, he was coaching another team. We kind of brought him into our team.
What is his background?
He is the most legendary guy from Counter-Strike in Denmark. He's played in the best team for like 10 years in a row in 1.6, Spirit of Amiga, Noah, MTW, and he's such a cool guy because he basically stopped playing CS. He got a degree in computer science and
Why did he
got
stop?
back to CS because CS kind of like 1.6 got outdated and the interest dropped, and then he just stopped playing. Got a really good university degree, and then he came back. He's the definition of a hard worker and really innovation. Like he's doing so much new stuff for the team inside of the game. Has a mindset of people like he's definitely defined how we play as a team. Okay. And we are known for doing new stuff, using grenades in a way that people have not used grenades before and so on. And
he's kind of like...
He's the mastermind behind a lot of stuff in our team, right? And he definitely worked with us in a way that made us become good teammates towards each other as well.
Okay, so your team play came better from that.
I think those are the most important turning points. And then definitely they've been like injuring my knee is kind of random, right? But it also pushed me into playing like Counter-Strike and...
Yeah, but that's sometimes...
It's just random sometimes.
Negative happens and it becomes a positive and
exactly.
You go somewhere. But I guess that's against solutions, like you said, you know, like you had to cope with your parents divorcing and they're not playing any badminton anymore, so you could like dive into something new and find a solution for where to put all your energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So just one more question, like that coach, Sonic, is he only coaching you guys? He's coaching different people? Or
he's only coaching our team. He's basically,
like
he's the sixth man in our team. He travels with us everywhere and we travel a lot, and he has two small kids at home. I know he wants to spend more time with, but he's sacrificing a lot for this dream we have to become, the most respected team in the world.
It's his dream as it is your dream.
Yeah, exactly. He's as much a part of a player in the team as we are, and he's only coaching us.
Okay.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do you train for intense situations where you would get stressed? Let's say clutch situation, 1 versus 1's left, being behind in a battle or stuff like that.
Yeah, there are many different ways to train that. I think most of it comes from experience and decision making. The good thing about being a Counter-Strike player or an esports athlete in general is that we have a lot of practice against other teams. We basically practice 3 or 4 times every day against other teams, which is giving us a lot of match practice, which you don't see in other sports, right? They only play the league games against the other teams, and then in the off season they play against
it's like friendly fights.
Yeah, exactly. So you play friendly matches every day, basically.
Any kind of team?
Any kind of team. Of course, you would like to avoid some of the teams going to that's in your group at the different tournaments you're going to. So when you know which groups like people are in, then you are probably avoiding them, and then we're quite restricted in the sense that we can only play against other European teams.
Okay.
So
no overseas playing.
No, that's the technology isn't there yet.
Oh, so the bandwidth is not good enough?
The latency, the ping is restricting you in that sense.
I see.
But yeah, we train those situations on the server, right, against the other teams. But I think there is a lot, like personality-wise, in how you are as a person. We have this guy in our team called Sibix, which is basically known for clutching. He is known as the clutch minister.
He knows how to do that.
Yeah, he's statistically the best player in clutches that's ever been in CS, I think. And
that's cool.
And I think it just comes from his personality as being very laid back and being really, really good at dealing with pressured situations without stressing, and something you can basically see in his everyday life as well. So yeah, it's a lot about how the personality is and how it shows on your character in game.
Yeah. What about mindfulness, podcast, books? Do you use any of that for these kind of things, or?
I think it's more about how the individual athlete treats himself in what he wants to learn. I read a lot of books about other athletes. I think my favorite is probably the Andre Agassi book. It's a tennis player. It's a really good book. I haven't read that many mindfulness books.
Meditation or anything like that?
I've used meditation, but more of a way to de-stress when I'm not playing.
Yeah,
there's a lot of
but maybe like preparing that way before a battle or every day
for sure.
or something would help you out, or I don't know.
It definitely does, and I think traveling this much as we do, you have to deal with stress in a lot of ways, and I think that.
How much do you travel?
I travel around 150 days with the team, and then I travel a lot to Copenhagen, mainly like 50 days a year to Copenhagen to see the other guys and train with them.
200 days a year.
Away from home.
More than every second day you're not at home.
Yeah.
Okay. That is, of course, stressful as well, and like out of the comfort zone all the time.
Yeah, definitely. You learn to live in a suitcase, right?
It took you time to get into that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
Changing environment all the time.
Yeah, now we become better at structurizing as well. Like, so that we have these periods where it's quite tough, and then we have these periods when it gets easier and we have more time to reload in some way.
Okay. So it's kind of like squeezed together.
Yeah.
A lot of traveling, and then you get some time off.
Exactly.
What about that time off? You still train? I know you just came home from Dubai. Did you play in Dubai?
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
But tomorrow I'm playing again with the team.
Yeah, tomorrow you're playing again. Would you travel? Did you travel anywhere and still have your computer and like play?
No.
Okay.
A lot of people do that. They like bring their laptop and stuff like that. But
you can actually. Do you miss it while you're gone?
Honestly, sometimes I do it. It depends on how much time that has been put into the tournaments before and what is going to happen after. But this vacation I was just on, it was pure relaxation, and it's one of the first, if not the first, where it never really like hit my mind to what's happening soon and so on.
Okay. So you didn't even reflect too much? Or
no, of course there's some reflection on. We've had some rough 2 tournaments in a row, what's happened and why and so on. But it's more about how I see myself moving on as a player. Like, what things do I need to improve on individually? Because like there's not much we can solve as a team when we have vacation. So I can think of some stuff that helps me, but in general it's more about like what I can do to get better.
I think sometimes when I do vacation, I come back, I'm better at tuning.
Yeah.
Because, you get out of that. You say you play every day, 6 hours every day. So something becomes automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. And then when you like gets out of that, your brain starts thinking like, why am I even doing that? Because that doesn't make any sense. I should do it like this. Do you experience the same like that?
Yeah.
Like it changes?
It's
You have
definitely
time to think about it?
It's more or less about decision making in Counter-Strike sometimes, that you as you say, you're doing like some default rounds where you're gaining some map control and everything is automatic. So you're not thinking about the things you're doing. Like, why am I throwing this grenade? You're just doing it because it's just how I've done it for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, as you say, sometimes you gain perspective. It can be from watching another team play. It can be from, as you say, coming back from vacation and you're remembering the stuff you did, but you don't remember why you did it. And then you question that and learn from that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. So I know a lot of people, we had this before we did this podcast. We had a lot of people coming in with questions as well.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them asked actually if there's any meaning or symbolism behind the tattoos, or are they just tattoos?
I think actually, now we've done this sleeve, I think most of it, if not almost everything, has a meaning.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna continue that way, because sometimes it's hard to give your tattoos a purpose. But definitely this is my first tattoo, and I started with a sleeve. So yeah, I can start from, I don't know if you can see it. So first we have like a sleeping lion, which is basically inspired from, I had my first dog was like our family dog. It was called Simba, and it was basically my best friend. Also under the divorce of my parents, it always stayed with me. So when I was at my dad, it was there. When I was at my mom, it was there, and I love that dog a lot. So it's a shout out to him for sure. Then Hercules is basically a reflection on what I learned with the sports psychologist, how to treat myself better in some way, not treating myself as a god or a demigod in some way, but
you're like a human.
Acknowledging that I am better than what I treated myself as previously. And then I have Ares in here, and my brother is in the military, and so we basically, he's the god of war, and we both work with war in some sense. So that's basically the meaning behind that. It's kind of a funny story that how we both ended up working with war-related stuff, even though mine is in a video game, right? So yeah, that's basically the same why I chose Athena as well, Athena, because it means a lot. My brother means a lot to me, even though he can be wherever he is in the world. We are like, I am where I am, but we still appreciate each other a lot, right? We didn't grow up being that close, but we're getting closer and closer. That's a big positive side of me and who I am right now. And then I have the lion in here, or the tiger in here, which is just basically filling out. And there's gonna be more meaning to some of the other tattoos, but there are gonna be some tattoos that it's just gonna be because I think they're cool.
Yeah, but I think it's the thing with tattoos. Like, you can make a tattoo with even not having any like meaning behind it, but they always find their
meaning, purpose,
or place or purpose somehow, and suddenly you just connect with it in a different way because you experience something that's like, when I get into it. Or at least if you don't do that, it's like a memory book, you know?
Exactly, the period of time.
What was happening, did I win the majors at that time? And it's like, blah, blah, blah.
The same we're doing today. We're doing the quote here today, which is also going to be Astralis inspired.
Yeah.
And it's like those small details in the tattoo. There are some quotes around here, which are like quotes that are in Latin, but they are all about defeating yourself, like defeat yourself before you defeat others. You have to have full control about yourself before you can actually go out there and be the person and be good at being the person you are and actually being good at the stuff you love, right?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of quotes in the sleeve that basically are about that and victory over yourself in some way, which are, as you say, they might not have a direct meaning, but you give them meaning in your life, and maybe later in your life you are like, oh yeah, this was in this period of time.
Oh, so we did the sleeve. What do you have like planned towards tattooing for the next time? Are you gonna do more? What's gonna happen with
my family? Definitely. No, my mom especially says they would like me to not do so much more, but I think they're also accepting it more and more. I definitely want to do a lot more. I definitely want to do more big pieces. And I also want to do a little bit more also like small tattoos. And I think that obviously we are going to work together on the big. We've always spoken about like doing a back piece that is like connecting to the front as well, and etc. Doing like a leg sleeve, something like that. But there are also going to be some, I think, like small. I want to get a little bit more YOLO, as you say, and sometimes just get like a small tattoo, and when it just
it's like
happens.
When you're traveling.
Exactly. Definitely want to start doing that a little bit as well.
Like the calendar kind of thing, comes that time calendar thing.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm gonna get a lot more, and I'm gonna disappoint my mom, but she's gonna live with it for sure.
Yeah, she's gonna be fine. I tried it, so don't worry, it's gonna change. And this was like a follow-up question, and as well was related to how come you chose me to do your tattoos?
Yeah, that's also quite a funny story. I knew nothing about tattoos when I started. Like, I've always, since I was quite young, thought that tattoos were quite nice, and when I was quite young, I liked the neo-traditional tattoos.
Yeah.
And then when I there's art in all tattoos, but I think the way that the realism and the black and gray realism is like perceived is a way that I relate to more than flashy colorized tattoos. And I basically just, I don't know, I Googled in a lot of months, and I think I wrote an email to you, and we started talking a little bit about what we should do. And I had some really bad ideas in the start as well, and you kind of guided me towards where we are right now. So yeah, it was mainly about finding the guy which art I respected and liked the most, and who I thought had a good way of having his own style as well, and not just doing, I can't just show up with a picture and so I want that.
Yeah.
Like, you have an idea and an opinion, you can say no, you can say that's a pretty shitty idea, and I respect that a lot, because otherwise you see a lot of people that get like the same tattoos, and you will see the same tattoo and the same tattoo everywhere, and I like that it's unique and it's personal.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, who's been your biggest inspiration in esport or outside of esport? Of course, you can mention more. Like
hasn't been that many inspirations in esport, actually. I started quite young, and I was kind of good when I was young, but obviously you looked up to the best player at the time.
Who was?
It was a guy like Sonic. He was the best player in 1.6, and some of his teammates.
In the world or in Denmark?
In Denmark, and also in the world at one point.
Okay.
And of course, you were looking up to them because you wanted to be in their position when you got older. But I definitely took a lot more from traditional sports. In my younger years, I really liked David Beckham. It was just because I thought he was really cool, and then I started reading the Andre Agassi book. And he had a really cool story on how to be an athlete and also how to treat yourself well. He kind of like came back from nothing in the middle of his career as well. And yeah, right now I think I look up to a lot of the, like Raheem Sterling, who's fighting against racism in football. I think LeBron James is doing a crazy job. But like all of the athletes in US, they're doing so much for their local community, but also in general for their
changing cultures.
Yeah, changing cultures, and they're actually using their ability to inspire and help people getting out of the slums and so on. And it's something that is really hard to do in esports, because people that have the money to actually play video games are not often going through that much hardship. But yeah, they inspire me a lot. The guys that choose to do something more than just their sport.
So it's not like you watch someone pick his techniques, changed it, someone else picked their technique, and then kind of like created your own technique like board and so on. That's how I grew as a tattoo artist. Take some momentum.
That's actually true. I didn't
stealing at an artist and then recreating from 10, 20 artists and then becoming yourself.
When you say it in like that, yeah, definitely. I haven't always been a player that played with a sniper rifle. So when Danny Sonic, our coach, he actually told me he thought that I should become a sniper player, which is also a turning point. I kind of forgot, but yeah. I started looking at all of the sniper players, and I didn't find one style that kind of suited me, or that I thought I wanted to play this way or this way. So as you said, like I kind of took his positioning, his way of rotating and creating your own style within the boundaries that some people have already set, but then taking all of the good stuff that fits to my personality and to how I want to be perceived as a player. And definitely that's how I created my play style as of right now. Am I going to continue being a sniper in my entire career? I don't know that, but But yeah, if you have to change your style, you have to look at the best and also sometimes look at some of the sub-top, because a lot of like unexpected things can come from some of the talents that have this new mindset that haven't been molded into to the professional lifestyle yet.
So where do you see yourself in the future of esports?
I'm gonna play a lot of years coming. Hopefully the scene gets more structured, so we have a less traveling schedule and so on. But yeah, I'm gonna play in the next few years. I'll always like have this dream of having a family and have to start. I want to start doing that quite young. I don't want to start when I'm over 30, so I don't have that many years to go. I'm becoming 24 this year, right? So I have 4 good years left in me, and then hopefully the scene has changed a little bit, so I can continue playing when I'm gonna get a family. Other than that, yeah, I'm probably gonna stay in esports for a long time. I think that it's a quite funny industry, and there's a lot of innovation that can happen. And when I'm done, I'm not gonna be a coach or anything. I really want to.
You're not gonna be a coach in the future.
No,
I'm see yourself as doing that.
Definitely not. I really want to find problems, or the problems I know that exist, and try to solve some of the problems with technology and so on in the future in some way. That could be a really cool thing to work with.
Cool. Like commercially, like on the commercial side of Astralis, other teams and stuff like that, do you have personas? Like, I know this is like a boy band would have like a, hey, I'm Dev King, I'm the bad boy of Astralis, or is it not that commercialized, or are you just yourself, all you guys?
I think definitely we're ourselves. I think you can't draft a team out from personalities which will work commercially, because there is no bench. The value in the player, I would say probably 90% of the value of the player is coming from the things they can do in the server, and then it's about Astralis and the marketing, guys behind that to create a story and to make that persona interesting in some way. But now that you say it, I think that there naturally just is in the team, like this team dynamic, when one guy becomes the star player, one guy becomes the shy guy, one guy, and that's just how all teams work. And nobody.
Is that how the media pursued you, and then you kind of became that, or is it just like your personality?
I think that it's just more like personality. You can't throw 5 alpha males in a team and then expect it to work. You can, it's just collecting a group that works well together, also has a good mix of personalities, in my opinion, that you can take the best of all the different attributes that people have.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so this is kind of like the business side of esports. So can I dig into, like, I guess you, a CS player and top pro CS players actually has a really, really good income now, and as you said, people are buying expensive designer wear and all this kind of stuff. Can you tell us a little more about how that works, like the professional side of money? How do you get paid? All that kind of stuff.
Sure. So the thing is that Astralis are responsible for maintaining the sponsorships and gathering new sponsorships, and that is what is generating the capital that is paying our salaries. The salaries are, of course, a good amount, but what is most important for us and what drives us the most is the prize money. The prize money is going to 100% of it is going to the players and the coach. So we're really motivated by that. That means that we're really performance motivated. And that's basically how. That's
100% for you guys. Yeah. Nothing for Astralis.
No, nothing is going to Astralis. So there is incentive is to maintaining, like creating the best business with the sponsors, and basically we want to have the best results, right? So it's sometimes it can become a fine balance of doing media related marketing stuff, and then also about basically doing good in tournaments, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how the money is generated, and a lot of businesses in esports are actually having a hard time paying out salaries and still like going zero every year. So a lot of it is coming from investor money right now, but I think that a lot of teams will be able to maintain and have a healthy economy in the coming years. Okay. So looking like that at least.
So it's getting more sponsors.
It's getting more healthy, and
people want to get more into it. Brands are buying more into it.
Exactly.
You'll see the reach are getting bigger, more people watching it on TV.
For sure, it's growing on all parameters.
Like, how many people watch the majors? Like, I guess
it varies. It varies a lot because you don't have all the TV numbers, so we only mostly have the stream numbers. And in China and Asia, there's a lot of viewers, but in general, we count the European and American viewers the most. So it's around 1.5 million watching the biggest games at the majors.
That's a lot of people too.
Yeah, and then of course you have TV, Danish TV showing, and you have Brazilian TV broadcasting a lot.
And they're not even included in that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's quite a lot more actually.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are at the kind of finals, but I want to ask you that if you have any advice for anybody who want to like pursue a career like you, what would they need to do to become an esports star? What like? You have any good advice for the young kids?
I think we gave a lot of good advice throughout the show. I think mostly is finding solutions to your problems and like keep pushing hard, because it's like success is not like just this one straight journey up. It's like a lot of bumps on the road, and you will doubt yourselves. People will doubt you. It's about believing in yourself, and if you have a dream, just push towards it, because if your life is not worthy enough of pushing towards your dreams, what is the life worth really, in my opinion? And that's basically it.
Be fearless.
Yeah. And also stay in school, kids. You gotta say that.
You're gonna say stay in school.
Yeah, I stay in. At least get a good perception of.
What kind of school did you do?
I went to the normal, what do you call, like
high school?
High school, yeah. And then I finished that, and then I was gonna go to university. But yeah, I'd say there's this breaking point when you finish high school. If you have a really good idea on a perception, like on which path you want to take, you don't always have to get a university degree. A lot of the people I know that are CEOs in the big businesses and working as the chief executive officers in the big companies, they probably just, like the most people I know, they started a university degree and realized that they could do it without one.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm thinking, because like it's hard for, like, a lot of people never really did school and become super successful, because it just doesn't fit everyone. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Same for me. I never did good in school. Did you do good in school? Did you find yourself well in school?
Honestly, I chose not to do that well in school at some point, but every time I had an exam, I did quite well.
Okay. So you're like naturally smart.
It was quite easy for me, at least up until high school was finished. But I know if I would have went to a university, it would have been like a lot harder for me, because I wasn't in the mood for doing school more in my life. But yeah, as you say, school is not a requirement. I think that establishing a base, especially if you want to become something within esports, there's like, it's not a career until you're 18, right? No. So going to school until you're like in that age and getting a lot of good experiences from either school and or work is quite important for building the person that you become later on.
Do you see a relation from school that made you a better esport player?
Yeah, definitely esport player, but also a person.
Okay.
I think that if I didn't have this many good and also bad like life, we say like experiences, then I wouldn't be the person I am today.
Yeah.
But mostly it's from the last 2 years or 3 years from esports that has made me the person I am.
Yeah, I guess that's like what I think about a lot. It's like a lot of people just want to stay, like, figure out who they are.
Yeah.
I just figured out that you're changing all the time.
Exactly.
And there's no reason to figuring out who you are, because we're not supposed to be who we are. We're changing all the time, evolving into something new. So I just think be open. Like you said, I completely changed in 3 years. It's it's a
people that meet me now that haven't met me in so many years. They don't know me at all. It's quite funny.
So stay open to change.
Yeah, and make it natural. Don't force change. It just happens, right?
Okay. Great, Nikolai. It's been a super nice conversation.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for participating.
Thank you.
Good luck on the next match.
Thank you so much. Now we're gonna continue this one.